ashford.com.
Hello and welcome to ashford.com. You are watching an interesting video on many positive ways to avoid the recurrence and metastasis of cancer cells.
Please read the disclaimer carefully.
This information can widen your perspective and offer more options. But you are personally responsible for the way it is interpreted or applied. Cancer treatment and ongoing control needs to be strictly monitored at every stage so no harm is done to the patient, only to the cancer. There are many positive ways to avoid the recurrence and metastasis of cancer cells. Here is an initial checklist and you can investigate each aspect in more detail later. Links to other articles that expand on these topics have been provided to supply useful tips, recipes, guidelines and references. People have found them to be useful, so tell us how they help. Sadly, there are cases of false positives when it comes to a cancer diagnosis. People have died as a result of hasty chemo, radiation and surgery, and later autopsies showed they never even had cancer. So first, don't panic or rush into harsh treatment you may regret after you have found out the exact situation from more than one doctor. Preferably, also go and see a doctor of integrated medicine who can recommend treatments that really work. Ask if you can speak to their patients so you can make up your own mind. We all have the right to do so. Many cancer patients are unaware of the pitfalls of what we call the mainstream poison, slash and burn protocol that can kill you, even if you don't have cancer. But on the alternative side, be wary of unsubstantiated claims and wacky natural crap that can also cause a lot of harm. It is a good idea to follow what has worked for people you know. It is surprising how many of our cancer survivors are the ones who take personal responsibility for their condition. They fully engage in the natural protocols to good effect and don't fall for toxic and dangerous options, just because people say you should. It is not ideal to walk around without hair or breasts. Stop and most people think it is safer to first have a round of chemo and then try alternative stuff. Oh really? We all need to take a good look at what chemotherapy is and where it came from. Mustard gas was a similar poison that was developed and used to kill and injure people during trench warfare in the First World War. It could poison people and permanently wipe out living, dividing cells as well as normal cells. Sound familiar? Yes, and in both cases anybody who survived the toxic onslaught then lost all their hair. Sound familiar? How many people have this done to them over and over again? I know that some of them die from this. The problem is that the chemotherapy we seem to trust in the hands of an oncologist is not as safe as people think it is. Sure, it can kill a cancer cell, but at the cost of healthy cells and the immune system. Most of my cancer surviving friends first had a round of chemotherapy, but after my passionate pleas, they then shook off the cancer properly with the help of doctors who could support them with nutrition, supplements and positive protocols for self-maintenance. If you still doubt that chemotherapy is dangerous, then visit the website of Dr. Simonson. See my reference. This doctor no longer approves of chemotherapy because he observed that the healthy cells died, but not all the cancer cells died. Instead, after what people call remission, the cancer cells migrated to areas where fungi and mold were present. Chemotherapy kills mostly healthy cells, temporarily reduces cancer cells but does not control candida, molds and other pathogens that are associated with all forms of cancer. Candidiasis develops in acidic oxygen-starved areas. If probiotics are in short supply, especially after taking antibiotics, the yeast develops into molds and fungal forms that produce deadly mycotoxins. Featured below is a picture of Artemisia Afro. It can target cancer cells that have absorbed iron, due to their abnormal genetic tendencies. Then it blasts them with a surge of oxidative stress that kills them and not the normal healthy cells. At the same time, it kills off mycotoxins that man-made chemotherapy, radiation and surgery leave behind. More about that later. We need to understand that these infections are common to all cancer patients. The inhalation or ingestion of mold spores can cause a lot of harm to humans. They attack the respiratory system and cause infections, even ones that feel and sound like a nasty cold. These pathogens grow and excrete mycotoxins that are very acidic and cause damage to cells. The resultant die-off creates a fermenting oxygen-starved batch in your tissues, especially breasts, that sets the scene for cancer. Clean your home out thoroughly using bio-friendly cleaners, especially with products that contain limonene and enzymes. You can also make your own detergents or use vinegar or common household items like ammonia or bleach. But don't ever combine chlorine or bleach with ammonia or any product that contains ammonia because it will produce a toxin similar to mustard gas that you may inhale. Consult a practitioner who is familiar with the use of a SO or similar scanning device who can detect and check your parasite load. Many of the strains of microbes can be electronically treated with these machines. The famous Rife resonator is very effective in removing most of the microbes, especially if it is used in conjunction with herbs that control parasites. Good ones to use are olive leaf, cloves, and especially Artemisia Afro. Recent studies from China show that this form of wormwood, when combined with iron, can kill procancerous cells within 15 hours. Evidently, it zaps them with hydrogen peroxide that targets the iron that is absorbed by the cancer cells because they have an altered gene expression. This is definitely worth investigating. The aggressive cell-dividing estrogens repair tissue or try to isolate infected particles by covering them with new cells that grow into lumps we feel. They are called tumors. There are different types of estrogens and not all of them do this. A urine test shows us if the ones that cause excessive cell division, called 16 estrogens, are outnumbering the weaker estrogens, called 2 estrogens, long before we start to feel a lump in the breast. Dangerous estrogens like 16-hydroxyestradiol can be assembled by the body from precursor hormones like pregnenolone, progesterone and testosterone. It is not safe to use any form of HRT, albeit nature identical, unless your urine is monitored frequently. Even progesterone needs to be controlled, and it depends on how healthy the liver is. Does progesterone control cancer because it reduces the estrogen levels? No. This is poppycock because it increases the levels of procancerous metabolites. It can contribute to higher levels of 16 estrogens that will show up in the 2/16 urine test. Another simple, safe and cheap test you can take yourself to keep an eye on cell division is the home pregnancy test. It is called a HCG test and shows you if cells are dividing, as they do during pregnancy, under the stimulus of the human chorionic gonadotropic hormone. When this happens, your immune system is also deactivated so that the cells can divide in peace. So if you test positive and you know you are not pregnant, you have reason enough to be concerned. Then do a 2/16 test and see. If in doubt, don't. I mean it. So many friends my age go and have a mammogram, just in case. In case what? Not every lump in the breast is a sign that you have cancer. Women get lumps and die with lumps, and not everybody dies of cancer. But if you irradiate this tissue and fixate about breast cancer and have needle autopsies, then you increase the damage to your DNA, and that is a precursor to cancer. There is plenty about that on the internet. It is more important to stop using antiperspirants because the nodes, part of your lymphatic system under your arms and next to your breast, can get lumpy. If we obstruct the natural elimination of toxins via normal perspiration, then we get lumps, lots of, no kidding. Modified siderospectin is a well-researched product that contains galactase, a sugar that inhibits the adhesion of cancer cells. They can't get a grip on each other or start a new colony that attaches onto a blood vessel to secure its own blood supply. The oil of the citrus peel, called limonene, is also known to blast cancer cells into oblivion. You need to take a good look at all the things the white pith of an orange can do to not only fight cancer but to remove heavy metals and other carcinogens. Use these handy recipes and tips to help yourself in a very positive, if not unique way. This citrus protocol can be added to your daily routine of ingesting as many green and brightly colored fresh produce as you can. You can control cancer with delicious, at any stage of our lives, with the exception of pregnancy. We need to have higher levels of our very important cancer-fighting 2-hydroxyestrone hormones. These chemicals switch off the aggressive impulse on the cell receptor to divide out of control and become cancerous. It is easy enough, and by doing this we are well on the way to preventing the growth and initiation of cancer in the first place. This is a positive step, and we do this with probiotics and chemicals like IC3 and DIM. Long names for broccoli extract. It is important to keep up a positive nutrient status on all fronts because vitamins, minerals and enzymes do not work in isolation. This is often a mistake people make, then they wonder why a popular treatment isn't working. Obviously, eating habits also come under scrutiny. They may be the reason you get cancer, especially if you ignore blood type incompatibilities. Some foods cause inflammation and increase the cancer potential of certain blood types. This is a crucial factor, regardless of the diet protocol. We also need to top up on basic cancer-fighting supplements like calcium and magnesium, vitamin C, B12, omega-3 oils, vitamin D3 and Lugol's iodine. These products may still be available from health stores and pharmacies. In some countries they are only sold on prescription, so ask your doctor to help you get hold of them. Make a list of all the items you need to be prescribed because some medical aids can refund you providing they are correctly coded. The internet may also be able to provide the more obscure products such as modified siderospectin, DIM and IC3. Dr. Gerson discovered how to switch off cell division using trypsin. Trypsin is an enzyme that makes cells stop dividing after the human fetus reaches maturity. As soon as the unborn baby develops a functional pancreas, trypsin is released and the baby stops growing in response to the off signal that trypsin conveys. Then throughout life, trypsin will stop cell division once routine repair work has been carried out. For instance, cell replacement of old worn-out cells or damaged tissue or to heal injury. Dr. Gerson uses protocols that include a lot of live enzymes, micronutrients, detoxification and fresh juices. It is now well known, except to mainstream oncologists, that the absence of trypsin is what accelerates the growth of cancer. A pancreatic malfunction, especially if there has been an injury or autoimmune damage, will cause a trypsin deficiency. It can also be caused by the presence of trypsin inhibitors that come from food. Eating large, regular helpings of raw alfalfa sprouts, whole soybeans and raw sweet potatoes, for instance, sounds healthy, but they are full of trypsin. The Gerson protocol is one of the most positive ways to right the wrongs that cause cancer. The success rate is impressive and it does not harm the patient. The Paleolithic diet and Dr. Wahl's protocol. The best results are achieved by people who eliminate all grains, dairy products and legumes. One also needs to track down and avoid all food that causes an allergenic reaction because inflammation exacerbates diseases like cancer, lupus and multiple sclerosis. Ideally, the famous paleo diet is best suited to blood type O who thrive on beef and potatoes. Blood type A does not, and members of the nightshade family like tomatoes, peppers, chili and potatoes cause inflammation. But overall it is a very positive protocol and aims at eliminating food that weakens immunity and causes inflammation. Consuming vast quantities of greens and brightly colored fruit and vegetables guarantees a good intake or cancer-fighting chemicals. Specific to Dr. Wahl's fight against MS, this is the way she adapted this diet to improve cellular energy at a mitochondrial level. Common to all positive anti-cancer diets is the use of vast amounts of fresh fruit, herbs and vegetables. The use of animal-based food is debatable. Most of the people I know as cancer survivors no longer eat meat. But some eat eggs and dairy products to a limited degree, hopefully only if they tolerate. Maintaining adequate levels of vitamin D3 is said to help prevent many forms of cancer. We get sick to the degree we lack vitamins, minerals and other micronutrients is what orthomolecular practitioners believe. It is worth having a mineral assay done to see what is seriously lacking. Hair analysis is the usual method used, and it also indicates the degree of heavy metals that are toxic, mercury, lead, cadmium and an excess of copper. Research has shown that by upping the levels in some people who are more vulnerable to a shortfall of a nutrient makes a huge difference to a cancer patient. For example, vitamin D helps to control cell division, especially in breast, prostate, thyroid and cervical. We get an abundant supply of vitamin D from unimpeded sunshine. This is what helps us to absorb and use calcium and magnesium. Both these minerals have a vital role to play in the control and prevention of cancer because they help to keep the blood alkaline. It is not true that sunshine causes cancer is what leading health experts like Jonathan Wright have now found out, so soak up some sun. Magnesium especially is required to alkalize mycotoxins or procancerous tissue, and it is often included with treatments that directly inject bicarbonate of soda into tumors. To be on the safe side, we should all be taking a good brand of multivitamin and a mineral complex daily for baseline maintenance. Then the supernutrients will be more effective. Vitamin C is also a key player in cancer treatments, and we know it also kills mold and mycotoxins. A few grams are used at a time, based on the research work of Linus Pauling. But buffered vitamin C is preferred. A basic rule with vitamin C is to take a few grams at a time until the bowel gets too loose. When we are stressed, the adrenal glands require vast quantities of vitamin C. You guessed it, constipation is a vitamin C deficiency. Especially when we stress out. Joanna Budwig gave her cancer patients a unique fix, based on a combination of essential fatty acids and amino acids that put a halt to cell division. Back in the 1950s, she mixed cottage cheese with flaxseed oil and gave it to her patients. Today this protocol has been used, and with better techniques the therapy is producing excellent results. Proof enough that a total vegan or raw approach may not be for everybody. Blood type B is usually very good with dairy products. I have included the use of amasi, a South African fermented milk, in this protocol to expand the probiotic strains in the diet. I don't like using raw grains, but she does. Remember, the probiotics are important to control candidiasis, and the flax seeds ground up or the oil itself provides anti-inflammatory oil in addition to killing cancerous cells. Now that's a tasty alternative to chemo. Dr. Browenstein is a world authority on iodine. So much so that he believes that all doctors need to become more iodine literate. He introduced cancer onto two groups of rats. For the rats that had a positive iodine status, he found that it was impossible for the cancerous cells he injected into them to take effect. We underestimate the importance of a positive iodine status. Many deficiencies manifest as thyroid problems, frequent infections, body odor, and especially cancer. We can supplement with 1 or 2 drops of Lugol's iodine, according to the iodine literate doctors. 95% of the people they tested had severe to moderate iodine deficiencies. They say that 200 micrograms a day is not enough and recommend 10 to 15 milligrams. This is what Japanese eat from their intake of seaweed. Kelp is another option, but you can also soak it up through the skin. Try a hot bath with Epsom salts and a few drops of iodine. Iodine has been used to reduce severe cases of fibrocystic breast disease within a few weeks. One patient was signed up for a mastectomy but was then offered iodine as a treatment for her condition. After 6 weeks her breasts were back to normal again. So please, before you panic and cut them off, get a second or a third opinion. Then read through this information and share it with your doctor, your friends, and especially your oncologist. Use these resources for more vital information on cancer prevention.
Thank you for watching this interesting and informative video. This channel offers motivational, inspirational, valuable and informative videos to soothe, cleanse and inspire your health, mind, body and spirit. You can find a lot of interesting videos on wide range of topics here. Stay tuned and keep watching.